All right, we are looking at lesson 68 today. Introduction to trigonometric ratios, also known as, yes, trigonometry or trig. So we're going to be looking at trig functions. That is the sine and cosine and, what's the other one? Tangent. Okay, so what is trigonometry? It's a study of the relationship between the sides and the angles of triangles. It does relate to triangles, but it's a ratio, a relationship between the sides and the angles. And you will do a lot of it next year. In pre-cal, you will have a lot of trig stuff.
Someone can go into trigonometry.
No.
There's some weird people in this world.
A trig ratio is a ratio of the two sides of a right triangle. So sine, cosine, and tangent can only be used for right triangles. The ratios that you're going to learn only work for right triangles. You can use sine and cosine for non-right triangles. We will learn that later in the year, and we'll go over it more next year. But for the ratios we're looking at today, they have to be used on right triangles. If you use it on a non-right triangle, it's not going to work. So you have to use it on a right triangle. So the sine is opposite over hypotenuse. The sine is your opposite over the hypotenuse. So let's look at a little picture. Which side is my opposite side? This is my opposite. Which one is my hypotenuse? The hypotenuse. Who remembers what this is called? The adjacent, yes. Okay? So our sine is the opposite over the hypotenuse. What is the cosine? Do y'all remember? Adjacent over hypotenuse. And we've got one more. We have the tangent. Do you remember what the tangent is? Opposite over adjacent. Do you have to learn these if you've forgotten them from last year? Yes. If you forget them, what do you think is going to happen? Yeah, you're not going to do very well on these. And it's not going to just be one kind of problem. They're going to start showing up in all types of problems. Okay? So you do need to know these. This is the lovely little mnemonic they offered. Studying our homework can always help to obtain achievement. Sine, opposite hypotenuse, cosine, adjacent hypotenuse, tangent is opposite over adjacent. There was also the one that the book told you from last year, Oscar had a hold on Arthur. That was in one of your homework questions. Yeah. Anyway, so any mnemonic that you want to use, it doesn't matter. You just got to know them. So we're looking at this example. They give us angle M, and we are supposed to find the sine, the cosine, and the tangent of angle M. Oh, by the way, the book says encourage students to make up their own mnemonics. To make up their own mnemonics. No, y'all are just using one that I told y'all last year. All right, so how are we going to find the sine of angle M? Okay, Destiny said we had to do Pythagorean theorem. Why? Okay, what is our hypotenuse? 13. Okay, so what is the sine of angle M? Do you agree? You just leave it like that. Not right now. Yeah, not right now. Okay, what would be the cosine of angle M? And you don't even have to make them into decimals. You can leave them as fractions. Okay, what about the tangent of angle M? Do y'all see how that works? Any questions there? All right. Use your calculator to evaluate each expression. And we want to round to the nearest hundredth for each of them. So if you are using a graphing calculator, anytime you use trig, you need to make sure that it is in degrees and not radians. So if you're using one of the calculators from over there, you need to pay attention closely. On the calculator, you're going to go to mode. It's up at the top. Hit mode. If you go to the third line, do you see where it says radian and degree? It should be dark on degree. So if it's not, go down and over and hit enter until it's flashing on degree and not on radian. You want to leave it on degree. You don't know what radians are.
What if my calculator gave me the square root of 6 plus the square root?
Hold on. You want to leave it in degrees, okay? Now, if you're using one on the wall, you're going to have to change it. You may have to change it every time. You want to go check every single time you're going to use a trig ratio. Because if you use it and it's in radians, your answer is going to be wrong. You will have worked it all out, and then when you plug in your calculator, it's going to give you the wrong answer. You have to put it in degrees, okay? So let's look at cosine of 15. So it says, what is the cosine of 15? 0.97. Okay. Any questions on that one? What about the sine of 45? 0.71. Okay. What about the tangent of 85? Okay. Any questions there? All right. Now we're going to use the tangent ratio to find C. So what ratio would we set up? Tangent of 85 equals 58. What would be the tangent of 58? Do you agree? Opposite over adjacent. Any questions on setting the trig ratio up? That's not our answer. We got to solve for C. So how do we solve for C? Do you remember this from last year? Nope. First, we're going to have to multiply, not by 25, by C. And so that leaves me with C times tangent of 58 equals 25. Now how do I solve for C? Divide by tangent of 58. Divide by tangent of 58. So now we're going to plug it into our calculator. So what would be the value of C? Do y'all see how that works? When you're solving for the angle, you use tangent inverse. Okay, so let's look at another one. And they won't always tell you whether to use sine, cosine, or tangent. They are right now because they're reteaching it to you. But we want to start by using the cosine of angle 27. So I want someone to go write what trig ratio we would start by using. Do you agree? Okay, now what would we do? Multiply by g, okay. Then what? Y divided by cosine of 27. You're finding g. You gotta get g by itself. So what do y'all get for g? It says round to the nearest tenth, so 11.2. Any questions so far? Okay. Let's look at another example. We have a square tabletop that's 36 inches on each side. We want to find the value for A and B. So see if you can figure out what A and B would have to equal. B is this length, and A is right there. All right, so what do you get for your A value? 14.54. And for your B value? 38.83. Any questions there? Okay, so someone go write the sine of angle T. What is the sine of angle T? Do you agree? Okay. Someone else go write the tangent of angle U. Tangent of U. That's going to keep extending the page. Do you agree? 5 over 12? Okay. Now we want to find x to the nearest 100. So who wants to go show us how we could find x? Do you agree with that? Okay. Okay. Do you agree with what he did? Any questions there? All right. So someone go write what each of those would be evaluated as. Who wants to do sine of 30 degrees? Nope, not degrees. Okay, who wants to do cosine of 90? Okay, what about tangent of 45? Okay. Any questions on those? All right, looking at the last example, a playground has a slide that is at a 38-degree angle with the ground. If the slide is 16 feet long, what is the height? All right, what do y'all get? 9.85? Do I need to go over that one? Okay. Looking at the challenge question. I thought this was a good problem. Water tank sits on top of a water tower. And it wants to know how tall is the water tank. The top. The top part. And it says round your final answer to the nearest foot. It says it's the large tower. The large on top of the
Kobe. I think it's a shot. That's like so much like irony in it. And when you missed the road that I could, right when you came to the game, you shut the face when you did that. You made it. Kobe. Yeah. He probably never makes someone's make a shot while it's playing fight. He breaks that shot. So that's
You're gonna have to start that way.
It looks so dirty.
That's what?
No, that one I got.
And then we have to figure out the whole thing. How do we come up with this? 30. And so, how do you find the length of just the top part? To get 13.42, but it said you're split, so 13. Does that make sense? Did we ever end up using tangent of 15 degrees? I saw somebody try to use tangent of 15, but why can't we use tangent of 15? It's not a right triangle. This is not a right triangle.
Yeah, 15.
40 minus 25 would give you this angle is 15, but you can't use it because it's not a right triangle. Does that make sense? All right. I've got your project graded. I told you.